This video is about area of circles. So to find the area of a circle, we need to first recall the parts of a circle. So remember, the very middle point is called the center. The circumference, or C, is the distance around a circle. So that's all the way around the edge, which is what we found in our last video. It's like the perimeter. Remember, circumference is perimeter, the distance around. Okay? The radius, or R, is the distance from the edge of the circle to the center, so halfway across the circle. And then the last one, the diameter, or D, is the distance across the circle through its center. So it has to go through the center. So it's all the way across the circle. Also remember that the radius is half of the diameter. Okay, half. It's halfway across, so it's half of the diameter that's all the way across. So in the past, we have learned that area is the number of square units needed to cover a surface. Counting square units on a circular surface can be super challenging. So if I were to estimate the area of this circle by counting the squares, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I know there's 16 full squares. And those two may make one. So 17, 18, 19, 20. That's not quite 21 or 22, but I guess we could go with it. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. But those last ones that I counted are not full squares, so maybe it's about 26 units squared. Maybe, I don't know, for sure. I can't be exact. Same thing on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That one's full. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, yada, yada, yada. Okay, just like this one. We can't be for sure. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Shouldn't have said it. Now I don't have to sneeze. Okay, so we can't be for sure, like exactly positive, what the area of this circle is, because there's no way I can tell 100%. So fortunately, there's a formula that we can use to find the area of a circle. Just like on circumference, that was pi times the diameter, or 2 times pi times the radius. Those are formulas that we can use. There is also one for area of a circle. So the area, or a capital A, so capital A for area of a circle equals the product. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. The product of pi, remember we always use 3.14 for pi, and the square of its radius, so that's the radius squared. So the way we write that is capital A, area, equals pi times the radius squared. So A equals pi r squared. Remember when we're squaring a number, just to revisit that, if I had 4 squared, it's not 4 times 2. That's right, 2 4s down. So the exponent, the little number, tells me how many of the base, or the big number, to write down. So that says, write 2 4s down, and we multiply them together. So that is 16. If I had 3 squared, that would be write 2 3s down, 3 times 3, and I get 9. So just to revisit that, so we remember squares. So to find the area, I'm going to do pi times the radius squared. Remember, radius is halfway across the circle. Okay, if they give us the diameter, we'll just take half of it to find the radius. Okay, so determine the area of the circle. Use 3.14 for pi. If you remember me saying this is like the universal shortener for pi. Everybody just uses 3.14. Okay, so the formula for area of a circle is capital A equals pi r squared. Now we're going to plug in what we know. So looking over here at this circle, the radius is halfway across, so they give it to us. So here's our radius, 5. We're going to plug in everything that we know. So area equals, instead of pi, we know we're using 3.14. And then the radius is 5, so that's going to be 5 squared. Okay, now according to PEMDAS, I know it says multiply, but according to PEMDAS, we always do our exponents first. E comes before in multiplication. So we have to do, area is 3.14, and then 5 squared is 25. That's 5 times 5. Now I can multiply these two together. So 3.14 has more digits. It has 3. 25 only has 2 digits, so 3.14 goes on top. We're going to do our multiplication. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 plus 2 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. Add a 0. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 3 is 6. Add down. You get 0. 7 plus 8 is 15. 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 8. And 1 plus 6 is 7. There are 2 numbers behind a decimal, so I'm going to move it 2 times. And I get 78.50. The instructions do not tell us to round to anything, so I am going to write 78.50 square centimeters. Right? Or if we were writing that all out and this wasn't here, I would write 78.50 centimeters squared. The area is always squared. Okay? So let's practice down here. Determine the area of each circle. Use 3.14. That's going to be our friend right there. Or 22 over 7 for pi. Round to the nearest tenth. So this time they're telling us to round. Okay, number 1. Remember our formula is A equals pi r squared. So let's plug in what we know. Area equals 3.14. And this circle gives us the radius halfway across. That's 7. So 7 squared. Area, I'm going to do my exponent first. 7 times 7, write 2 7s down and multiply them together is 49. So that's 3.14 times 49. We're going to have to squish things in here, especially since I write big. I'm going to come over here and do the multiplication. 3.14 times 49. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 is 28. Add 0. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 plus 1 is 5. And 4 times 3 is 12. Add down, you get 6, then 8, then 13, then 5, then 2. There's 2 numbers behind the decimal, so I'm going to move it 2 times. That's 253.86, but they want us to round to the nearest tenth. The 6 does make that 8 go up, so I have 253.9, and the units is inches squared. So this area, oh Lord, I'm going to have a hard time fitting everything in here. Now you have to bear with me. So remember, you have to put the units. That could be 253.9 lengths squared for all I know. So make sure that you tell me it's inches squared. Okay, number 2, area is pi r squared. On this circle, they don't give us the radius. They give us the diameter. Remember, the diameter of 8, the radius is just half of that. So half of 8 would be 4. So the radius here is 4. Okay, so let's plug in what we know. A equals, instead of pi, we're using 3.14. Instead of the, and then the radius squared, so we figured out the radius was 4. Now let's do our exponent, so that's 3.14. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Then we can do our multiplication. 3.14 times 16. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 1 plus 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. Add a 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 times 3 is 3. Add down. 8 plus 4 is 12. That's going to be 10. And that's going to be 5. Move the decimal 2 times to the left for our 2 numbers behind the decimal. I get 50.24. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. The 4 makes the 2 stay the same, so our area is 50.24 meters squared. Number 3. Okay, so area is pi times the radius squared. They give us the radius of the circle halfway across, so this is our radius. So let's plug in what we know. Instead of pi, I have 3.14. The radius is 12, so that's 12 squared. Let's do our exponent first. So area is 3.14, and then 12 squared is 12 times 12, which is 144. Now let's do our multiplication. This has 3 digits and this has 3 digits, so it really does not matter what you put on top, either or, because they're both the same number of digits. I'm going to do 3.14 times 144. 4 times 6 is 16. 4 times 1 plus 1 is 5. 4 times 3 is 12. Add a 0. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. And 4 times 3 is 12. Add 2 zeros this time. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 times 3 is 3. Add down. 6, 0, 0 is 6. 5 plus 6 plus 0 is 11. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8, plus 4 is 12. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and 1 plus 3 is 4. 2 numbers behind the decimal. That's for 52.16. We are rounding to the nearest tenth. The 6 makes the 1 go up. So this area is 452.6 is making the 1 go up to a 2. Feet squared. Yes, there's going to be a lot of multiplying with decimals when you're dealing with circles, so just get used to it. All right, number 4. Notice on this circle, only half of it is shaded. So on this one, let's determine the area of the shaded region. So we're going to find the whole entire area, and then we're going to find half of it. So we'll divide it by 2 in the end. So let's just do our normal finding the area of a circle. So area is pi r squared. They give us the radius here, that's 6.1. Okay, so area is 3.14 times 6.1 squared. I did not give myself enough room for this. This is going to be a lot of math. We'll see how far we go. Okay, so first things first is going to be 6.1 squared. I'm going to do that over here on top of the circle. Sorry, 6.1 times 6.1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 6 is 6. Add a 0. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 1 plus 0 is 1. 6 plus 6 is 12. 7, that's 3. I have 2 numbers in all behind the decimal, 1 here and 1 here. So 2 times to the left. So now I have 3.14, and we figured out 6.1 squared is 37.21. Now I need to take these 2 numbers and multiply them together. So this has 3 digits and that has 4. So this one needs to go on top. I'm going to come over here. 37.21 times 3.14. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 3 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Add a 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 3 is 3. Add 2 zeros. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 2 is 11. Add down. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 1 plus 0 is 9. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 7 is 12, plus 6 is 18. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6, and then my ones. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal. So I have 116.8394. Now, I'm not done, so we're not rounding until the very, very end. This is the area of the entire circle, but remember I only want the shaded region, so I only want half of it. So if I want half of a number, I'm going to divide it by 2. So 116.8394 divided by 2. There's no decimal outside my house, so I can just take this one straight up, so I make sure it's in the right spot. 2 won't go into 1, but it goes into 11 5 times. Minus 10 is 1. Bring down my 6. 2 goes into 16 8 times. Minus 16 is 0. Bring down my 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. I'm not going to have enough room. Awesome. So you're just going to have to bear with me here. 2 times 4, we said 8. So minus 8 is 0. Bring down my 3. 2 goes into 3 1 time. Now, essentially, I could keep going, but since I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, I really only need to find 2 decimal places so that I can round. So now that I'm here, I can round. The 1 makes the 4 stay the same. So this half of the area of this circle is 58.4, and this is meters squared. That goes with this one over here. Whew. Okay, number 5. Look at this. We've got this small little area down here. I'm going to section it off for us so that we know that number 5 is in here. Let's see if we can fit this in here. We being me, because I write big. Okay, number 5. Area is pi times the radius squared. They tell us the radius right here is 4. So let's plug in what we know. Instead of pi, we have 3.14. The radius is 4 squared. Now we're going to do our exponents. So 3.14 times 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. I feel like we've done this before, so I may reuse some of our math up here. Notice 3.14 times 16 we already did right here. So you could do the math again if you want to, but I'm just going to reuse this. And I'll show you. To help you remember where I'm getting this from, I'm going to bring it down here. Because we already did this. It's right here. Okay. So 3.14 times 16 is 50.24. So the area of this entire circle is 50.24 meters squared. But notice the shaded region is only 1/4 of the circle. So if I wanted 1/4 of something, I divide it into 4 pieces. So 1/4 is dividing by 4. Remember, the line in a fraction needs to divide. So I'm dividing by 4. So I'm going to take 50.24, and I'm going to divide it by 4. There's no decimal out here, so I'm going to bring this one straight up. 4 goes into 5 1 time. Minus 4 is 1. Bring down my 0. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down your 2. 4 goes into 22 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 minus 22 is 2. Bring down my 4. And 4 goes into 24 exactly 6 times. So the area of 1/4 of this circle, or the shaded region right here, is 12.56 meters squared. So please make sure you look at what part of the circle is shaded. I should have changed these directions today to determine the area of the shaded region of each circle, so my apologies. But this is the entire circle, this is half of it, That's a fourth of it. Notice for half, I got the whole area and I divided it by 2. Notice for number 5, I got the whole area of the circle and then divided it by 4 because I only wanted a fourth of it.